Last time on MAP Season 1.
I mean, Amy just told us yesterday that she's moving back to Toronto.
Therefore, I shall resign, effective at noon tomorrow.
It's not a coincidence that 4 bodies ended up in the same location.
Police think it might be the work of a serial killer.
Kiss the camera. Okay. The sky signal's off. Turn off the lights.
And God.
Johnny, it's your baby.
She saw everything!
WBEZ Chicago, it's This American Life, distributed by Public Radio International. I'm Ira Glass. And I'm coming to you today to say something that I've never had to say on our program. 2 months ago, we broadcast a story that we've come to believe is not true. It's a story that got a lot of attention. More people downloaded it than any episode we have ever done. This is Mike Daisy's story about visiting a plant in China where Apple manufactures iPhones and iPads and other products. He's been performing this story on stage as a monologue since 2010. And the most powerful and memorable moments in the story all seem to be fabricated.
Recently I've been thinking about something called posturology. What is that, you ask? Good question. Very good question, because I'm not even really sure if it exists. It all started after class one day. I'm taking a fitness instructor course. I was taking it at the NDGY with an instructor named Miles. So after class one day, I decided to stay and ask him if I could help my sciatica because I thought my back muscles were stronger than my abs, and that was creating an increased curvature in my lower lumbar. I have sciatica, I don't know if I mentioned that. Anyhow, I thought that maybe if I balanced out my muscles, I tried to say muscular strength and muscles at the same time, and it came out sounding like muscles. Anyhow, I thought that maybe if I strengthened my abs, I could help my sciatica. So I asked Miles, and he said, "I'm glad you asked." I deal with pain. Yeah, I used to have really bad back pain. I had debilitating pain for a while. I couldn't walk. But then I saw someone from France. He really helped me. Now I deal with pain. I treat people. So he took out this whiteboard and he drew a picture of my spine and my hips, and he discovered that my hips are not even. My left hip is higher than my right hip. And what's happening is it's causing my spine to curve to the left and pinch my sciatic nerve on that side. That makes sense to me. You know, it's what my physio told me when I used to go to physio, and it's what I can feel, you know, knowing my body. So it was all making sense. I was really trusting what he was saying, and he was like, "It's your brain. It's your motor neurons." I can't really describe this part perfectly scientifically, but basically, your brain receives messages and then outputs them to your body. And your brain receives messages from 2 major places, your eyes and your feet. So, if you have dysfunction in your eyes or your feet, your body is going to be receiving skewed messages, if that makes any sense. And so he told me, there's a whole therapy for this. Posturology therapy, basically. And he uses magnets. And they have these magnetic insoles that you step on, and he said he had a high shoulder and a high hip, and he stepped onto the insoles, and he straightened out. And he stepped off the insoles, and he went back to being crooked. And I was like, that sounds amazing. I'm so jazzed about that. Like, let's book a session. I'd love to do that. And he was like, clients, often within 1 session, their pain goes away or it's reduced. I think it could be gone for you. Yeah. I think it could be really easy.
I understand you wanting to protect
Johnny's share.
reputation, but I also have to tell you that your cooperation can help us catch a serial killer.
I am cooperating.
You haven't told me anything.
Well, there's nothing to tell.
Do you mind my asking who the father is?
Yeah, just some guy I met on a cruise. Doesn't want anything to do with her. But I do. I want her to have a good life.
Is there anything more to your relationship with
Johnny?
We're gonna find out eventually.
Find out what?
Johnny?
He wasn't who he said he was.
Johnny?
It wasn't even his real name.
What?
We think this man is using his looks and his charm to target women.
It seems that you've been living two lives. One of these lives has a future. One of them does not. I'm going to be as forthcoming as I can be.
Mrs. Jones.
Because I need your help. We know that you've been contacted by a certain individual. A man who calls himself.
Johnny Sharp.
My colleagues believe that I'm wasting my time with you, but I believe you wish to do the right thing. We're willing to wipe the slate clean, give you a fresh start. All that we're asking in return is your cooperation in bringing a known terrorist to justice.
Wow. That sounds like a really good deal. Oh, but I have a better idea. How about I give you the finger and you give me my phone call? You can't scare me with this Gestapo crap. I know my rights. I want my phone call.
What good is a phone call if you're unable to speak?
Was Monday night, and I called my boyfriend Jacob the next morning before work on Tuesday. And I was telling him, you know, Miles told me about this treatment and I'm really excited about it and I think I want to try it. And he was like, great, that sounds great. I think you should do it. And I was like, I also mentioned that you have back pain. I think you should do it too. And he was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, well, you just said that it was great for me, so you should do it too. And he was like, no, I don't think so. I'm not interested. I don't think that it would work. I don't remember exactly what he said, but basically he was like, there's no studies to prove magnet therapy. I don't think it would work. And I was like, well, if you don't think it would work, why didn't you say that when it was for myself? Why are there two different standards? I was upset about it, and I called him back that night after work, and we got into another big fight. I can't remember about what exactly. I mean, it was about that, but it was also about communication. And anyway, we sort of like, I can't remember what happened next.
So you lied about that? That wasn't what you saw?
I wouldn't express it that way.
wanted to tell a story that captured the totality of my trip. And so when I was building the scene of that meeting, I wanted to have the voice of this thing that had been happening, that everyone been talking about.
So you didn't actually meet an actual worker who had been poisoned by hexane?
That's correct.
You on drugs?
Drugs? No, I don't take drugs.
I don't like your attitude.
Oh, well, what else is new?
I'm holding you in contempt of court.
Oh, there's a fucking surprise!
What'd you say?
What did I say?
What did you just say?
We had back at the house at the time of the murder and they're running DNA samples. Are you sure there's nothing you want to tell us?
I'm not even sure why I'm still here.
When you arrived back at the house, was your...
Johnny in the house?
Yes, but only for like a minute.
That's more than enough time to kill Topra.
No, he wouldn't have had enough time.
How much time was...
Johnny in the house.
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Are you sure? Did you look at your watch?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. You testified earlier that...
Johnny left.
And you had just begun to make breakfast. You were just ready to eat and you heard a gunshot. That's right, I'm sorry. So obviously it takes you 5 minutes to make breakfast.
That's right.
Did you hear a shot fired?
No, I was in the shower.
Okay. So, sometime in the 20 minutes that you were in the shower, Ms. Woa was shot.
Yes.
Ms. Woa was shot while you were in the shower, but you didn't hear the shot
Because I was in the shower.
Because you were in the shower?
Yes. I was washing my hair. We were in a restaurant a few days later. And it sort of came up again. And he was like, I want you to do some reading. I want you to do some research. And I was not really interested in the research. I was more focused on, you know, I trust Miles. He's my teacher. And if he told me straight up that he used to have pain and he no longer has pain, I trust that. That's enough, you know? I'll take his word. I'll try it. And Jacob wanted me to read things and research things. And he was like, I want you to read about the placebo effect. I want you to read about scam doctors because Miles fits the bill in all these ways. Like they put down medical science. Like he puts down osteopaths and chiropractors and nobody else can do it, but I can. And he's like, it's magnets, it's instant relief. You can see the results within 1 session. Like all of these things are like major warning signs about this kind of thing. But my position was like, if it works, it works. So we got into a big fight, and we were at this impasse, and sort of blew up. Some regretful words were exchanged on my part, mostly. And we sort of just needed to relax about it, but it kept on coming up in various ways. I kept on talking about holistic medicine, and he kept on talking about, you know, needing to see the research and the facts. And now it was expanding past posturology, and we were talking about acupuncture and homeopathy and this and that, and what if we want to have a kid one day and I don't want to get vaccinated and he does? And that's just scratching the surface.
Do you remember what you had?
For breakfast?
Eggs and grits.
Eggs and grits. I like grits too. How do you cook your grits? You like them regular, creamy, or al dente?
Just regular, I guess.
Regular. Instant grits?
No self-respecting Southerner uses instant grits. I take pride in my grits.
So,
Mrs. Jones.
how could it take you 5 minutes to cook your grits when it takes the entire grit-eating world 20 minutes?
I don't know. I'm a fast cook, I guess.
I'm sorry, I was all the way over here. I couldn't hear you. Did you say you're a fast cook? That's it? Are we to believe that boiling water soaks into a grit faster in your kitchen than on any place on the face of the earth?
I don't know.
Well, perhaps the laws of physics cease to exist on your stoves. Were these magic grits? I mean, did you buy them from the same guy who sold Jack his beanstalk beans? Are you sure about that 5 minutes?
I don't know.
Are you sure about that 5 minutes?
I don't know.
Are you sure about that 5 minutes?
I may have been mistaken. I may have already been in the shower by then.
But you didn't hear the shot because you were in the shower?
Yes.
What had you done earlier that day?
I got up, I got a latte, I went to the gym, I got a perm, and then I came home.
Were you got in the shower?
Yes.
Did you ever get in a perm before?
Yes.
How many would you say?
2 a year since I was 12. You do the math.
You know, a girl in my sorority, Tracy Marcinko, got a perm once. We all tried to talk her out of it. Girls weren't a good look for her. But thankfully, that same day, she entered the Beta Delta Pi Wet T-shirt contest where she was completely hosed down from head to toe. Jenny, why is it that Tracy Marcinko's curls were ruined when she got hosed down?
Because she got her hair wet.
Exactly. Because isn't it the first cardinal rule of perm maintenance that you're forbidden to wet your hair for at least 24 hours after getting a perm, at the risk of deactivating the ammonium thioglycolate?
Yes.
And wouldn't somebody who's had, say, 30 perms before in their life be well aware of this rule? And if in fact you weren't washing your hair, as I suspect you weren't because your curls are still intact, wouldn't you have heard the gunshot?
I apologize. I am young and I am inexperienced. But you cannot hold Johnny Shaw responsible for my shortcomings. You know, in all of this legal maneuvering, something has got lost, and that something is...
Lie became truth to me, and
Why do people seek the truth? Is it for our minds, or is it for our hearts? We're all equal under the eyes of the law, but that's not true, because the eyes of the law are human eyes, yours and mine. And until we can see each other as equals, justice is never going to be even-handed. But we have a duty under God to seek the truth. And not with our eyes, not with our minds, not with fear or hate, but with our hearts.
Did you worry that I would either say, like, okay, well, not enough of this is true in the traditional way that we need it to be, or verifiable in the way we need it to be, and so, like, we can't run it? Or did you worry, like, okay, would you accidentally end up with two versions of the story, and there would raise a question about, like, what really happened? Like, was that the kind of thing you were thinking?
The latter. I worried about the latter a lot more. After a certain point, honestly,
Wait, if you're a certain point, what?
well, I started a sentence and then my nerve failed me and I stopped talking.
Okay.
So that's what you saw. So I'm working on it. It's coming. I can't say it.
What's the general kind of area that it's in?
Oh, I'll just say it. I'll just say it. After a certain point, I would have preferred the first option.
That we would just kill this story and not do it on the radio.
There was a point.
I had felt that our conversation had come to, like, an adequate resolution before our rehearsal on Friday. Oh, no. It must have been after the rehearsal where we started talking about using this for the show. No. Must have been before. Doesn't matter. After we decided that we were going to use this for the show, I had brought it up with Jacob, just to check in, make sure it wasn't a hot button issue still, and, you know, putting it in front of an audience. And he was like, I don't feel anger about this issue anymore. I feel fine with you using it. It's something that's happening to you. Totally, I'm cool with it. So I thought, okay, cool, we're cool. So at the bar, he comes in, and he's like, hey, I just want to have a quick conversation, make sure everything's good. Just want to check in about our conversation about science and faiths and beliefs and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, what do you mean? What do you mean? and things sort of came up all over again. We're repeating ourselves, and so it was really clear that there was still anger there. There was still misunderstanding. There was still something wrong. You know, things were building, and obviously there was something still big between us. So what happened was that I said that I didn't feel comfortable saying that I have doubts because I felt like he would sort of rub it in my face, like, yes, exactly, that's what I've been saying all along. And he felt like he couldn't say anything. He was like, I can't show you studies, you won't listen to them. I feel like he could offer you anything and you would believe it, so you're not even allowing me to be a part of this conversation. It's not a two-way conversation. And I was like, yeah, it's not. We're not listening to each other. We're not allowing each other in on what the discussion really is. I wish I could be like, hey babe, there's this thing that I want to try, and I'm really interested in it. And what do you think? Can we do some research together? Do you think it's a good idea? I want us to be on the same team, really. And he was like, that's what I want too. Like, that's what I want. Honesty is for other people. That's what it's for. It's for connecting. It's for saying, I am giving you something. I am giving you me. I am allowing you to see and feel just me. If whoever you're offering that to accepts it, well then that's amazing. Boom, there's connection, right?
So you're saying the story isn't true in the journalistic sense?
I am agreeing it is not up to the standards of journalism, and that's why it was completely wrong for me to have it on your show. And that's something I deeply regret. And I regret that the people who are listening, the audience of This American Life, who know that it is a journalistic enterprise, if they feel misled or betrayed, I regret to them as well.
Right, but you're saying that the only way that you can get through emotionally to people is to mess around with the facts, but that isn't so.
I'm not saying that that's the only way to get through people emotionally. I'm just saying that this piece, in how it was built for the theater, follows those rules. I'm not saying it's the only way to do things.
You don't wear contact lenses, do you?
Mrs. Jones?
No, sir.
With your untrammeled sight, whom did you see?
Well, I saw something, but I couldn't say what.
All right, what was the something you saw?
I couldn't say.
You couldn't say or you wouldn't say?
I couldn't say.
Couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't.
Mrs. Jones?
You're exhausting my patience and making a mockery of these proceedings. I will give you one last chance. The consequences of your response will be dire. By dire,
Mrs. Jones?
I mean your future will be jeopardized permanently. Now for the last time, what did you see last Tuesday night?
I saw somebody.
I saw somebody. Good. Did you see their size and shape?
Yes.
And they were the size and shape of whom?
Mrs. Jones?
Please, I need you to think about the baby right now.
When you arrived back at the house,
Whom did you see?
Johnny Sharp. I found out he's the fucking Bay Harbor butcher. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's evidence. I saw it happen.
when when you arrived back at the house...
Whom did you see?
I saw Johnny standing over Topra's dead body, drenched in her blood. Poor thing. Hiding such an enormous secret. What a burden that's gotta be. It's no wonder he's so shut down.
Miss Walla?
No, Johnny.
What are you? His accomplice?
No. I'm his soulmate.
Whatever you think you know about this man is irrelevant. He is considered by many authorities to be the most dangerous man alive.
You did the right thing turning him in.
I've never done anything for anybody who couldn't do something for me. I lie on the phone. I lie in person. I lie to my friends. I lie to newspapers and magazines who sell my lies to more and more people. I'm just part of a big cycle of lies. I should be the fucking president! I wear all this Italian shit because underneath I still feel like the Bronx. I think I need these clothes, this watch, this fucking watch! This $2,000 watch is a fake and so am I! I neglected the things I should have valued most. I value this shit. Shit! I've been dressing up as somebody I'm not for so long. I was afraid that you wouldn't like what was underneath, but here I am. I'm just flesh and blood and weakness. Just trying to save my own life. But not just mine. Trying to save John's innocent, unborn child. And maybe it is a scam. But I still feel like I want to go because, I don't know, I just still trust Miles when he says it could work. And Jacob said, he said, it's a placebo. It's the placebo effect. It's not real. Your brain is going to be fooled into thinking that you're better. And I was like, so what? And if I don't feel pain anymore, then I don't feel pain. The word real, when it comes to pain, I feel is inappropriate because pain is generated by your brain. I think that. So if I don't perceive pain anymore, then I'm pain-free. And if the pain comes back, well then at least I'll have lived a part of my life pain-free. And I don't think that there's a lot of risks associated with this particular theory, this posturology stuff. You know, it's just the chance if by some miracle, miracle, that's the word that Jacob doesn't like. But anyway, if by some miracle it works, well then that's great. And I don't care if there's no research about it, and I don't care if it's placebo because I'll feel better. And I still haven't gone in for my session, and the more I think about it, the more crazy it sounds. But I have to have hope, because otherwise it's just too pressing. It's a pretty long story. Okay, I'm done.